Now, for more on this, we're now being joined by Dr. Nikhil Deb, Assistant Professor of Sociology, California Polytechnic State University, St. Louis. Thank you so much for joining us on World DNA, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Now, sir, a record fifth term for Sheikh Hasina. What are your thoughts on her re-election and what does this mean for Bangladesh?
Yeah, thank you. And, I think if we look at the real scenarios on the ground, it doesn't really look like a promising and auspicious scenario for a democratic future in Bangladesh. Again, you cited in your report, some observations made by different independent organizations. And if we look at the observations made by different independent organizations, including some human rights organizations, and that includes Human Rights Watch, they have seriously questioned the credibility and fairness of the election. So I believe, the ruling government has, to a great extent, failed to create a condition to secure the participation of opposition party actually in this election. So it will remain or go down to the history as a questionable event in the democratic history of Bangladesh.
Mr. Deb,
this is definitely. Yes, please go ahead.
I also wanted to get your thoughts on this. How do you think Bangladesh's relationship with India and China particularly would, move forward, given that there is an incumbent government now?
This is a great question. I don't think actually that the relationship with either China or India would be significantly hampered because of this questionable election. Because so far we know that the current Indian administration has a very warm relationship with the Sheikh Hasina administration, and it hope to continue in the coming days. And of course, China, since this is another emerging power in the world, and I think at least so far my observation or political observation is concerned, Bangladesh continues to maintain a very balanced relationship with both China and India. So I think as far as the relationship between China and India, or between China and Bangladesh and India and China, India and Bangladesh is concerned, I think it's not going to be that different. But again, it will be probably changing after India's upcoming election. So.
Right, sir, and you touched on this earlier and we mentioned this in our report as well. But just for more clarity on this, as per the UN Human Rights Council, the Bangladesh authorities have been blamed of mass arbitrary arrests, enforced disappearances, torture, extrajudicial killings, widespread repression. Now, just for better understanding here, what can we expect on that front, if anything at all?
Yeah, I think, again, in my belief, view, it was incumbent upon the ruling government to create conditions for a free and fair elections. And of course, we don't support the kind of violence that was resorted by the opposition parties to protest this one-sided election. However, again, as you mentioned, just because the opposition parties are protesting this unfair election, the ruling government should not have cracked down on the movements that was going on against or to ensure a fair and free election, because this is part and parcel of democracy. And Bangladesh, since its independence, has faced so many political and democratic setbacks. And it is, I would say, very unfortunate that a party that has a very strong relationship with its history, Bangladesh Awami League, is seemingly becoming very questionable in its practices when it comes to upholding democratic ideals in the country. So it should have actually done better than what it actually has done in this recent election.
All right, Mr. Deb, thank you so much for joining us on World DNA. Pleasure to speak with you, and we will be in touch as this progresses further.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me again. Thank you.